The 2025 season gets set to kick off in full force, and what better place to get another NASCAR series started than right here at the World Center of Racing. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mullet alongside DJ Clark. This is season number 8 of the SRA IEL Truck Series. Welcome to Daytona and to the SRA Open. My name is Mullet. Once again, DJ Clark alongside me in the broadcast booth, and DJ, it is the quintessential season opener. There's not much that can be said about it. It's a track that everybody knows everything about it. People memorize this place top to bottom. All that's unknown tonight is who's going to be on top at the end of the SRA Open.
Exactly, Nolan. And one of the special things about Daytona, we talk about some of the other greatest races in the world, whether it's Indianapolis, Monaco, Le Mans. They fall smack dab in the middle of a season. Daytona, the only one for NASCAR that starts the season off. And so you win the big one, you get momentum going forward, and you're able to hang your hat on the names, illustrious names that have won here in the past. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic race. We've gone through an interesting preseason with lots of different strategies and winners taken to the top, but I can tell you one thing. It's time to get all those nerves out of the way. It's time to go racing from Daytona.
Let's talk about some of the big drivers that are going to be looking to make some championship drives this afternoon. We'll start with the veterans, of course, right? You got Aaron Raymond, 3-time repeat defending champion, trying to go for 4 in season number 6 this afternoon. Zane Bailey was his closest competition, along with Scott Rankin, throughout season number 5. Rankin not competing full time. Bailey, though, back in the saddle. He's ready to try to see if he can finally gun for the top spot. John Buwalda Jr., a multi-champion competitor, almost got the W in season 4. It was a battle between aggression versus consistency. Aggression won out that season, but could consistency come back and have a big hand to play in how racing action pans out in season number 6. Then you got some newcomers. Jared Duda making his first starts officially in the SRA IEL Truck Series. We saw some huge aggression playing up between him and Aaron Raymond over the course of the mini stock series, and we've seen that rivalry flare time after time again all throughout the preseason races. It has not gone away just because we're in a new season now.
No, it certainly has not. It wouldn't be a NASCAR season and it wouldn't be a truck season if we didn't have a little bit of that butting heads coming together. So we'll have to see how that plays out a little bit. But another name that we've got to circle here, Michael Gudger. Been very, very fantastic at the preseason, been very quick, and he currently sits on pole here for the opening race.
He sure does. So Gudge is going to be up on pole position this afternoon for the... No, we will not! It's Justin Anasogak, who just now put in a banger of a lap right at the buzzer. And, of course, that is oh boy, I mean, we could talk all about qualifying all we want, but at the end of the day, qualifying very little in how a race pans out at Daytona. It's all going to be about who is able to play the team game, who's able to really be there at the end of this thing. For now, we'll take a quick step back, we'll get in with our opening ceremonies, and we will return with the starting grid in 90 seconds, 100 laps, 250 miles. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay with us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
And with all of that, it's time to finally get a new championship underway. Engines firing, 40 trucks lining up on pit road. This is the starting grid of the SRA Open at Daytona. Started on pole position, it is rookie Justin Anasogak in his first official start alongside Michael Gudger. Another rookie, Jason Fensler, brings it up on the inside of row number 2 alongside three-time repeat champion Aaron Raymond. Jared Duda back in 5th alongside Dylan Wilbers. Laban Van Leer is in 7th with Brennan Gregg in 8th. Closing out the top 10, it's Ryan Wayne and veteran Paul Witt.
Zane Bailey going to be lining up in 11th. Flanking him will be Bill Hales, then Austin Mitchell, and Charlie Birch will be to the outside. Mike Allen and George Kirafidis, and then in 17th it will be Bruce Dudley and Thomas Lane flanking him. Dale Rapp lines up 19th, Mike Campbell in 20th.
From there, it's Joshua Jernigan at 21st alongside John Bawalda Jr. Jim Colmansberger is in 23rd alongside Anthony Williams. Row 15 headed up by Dylan Grutzmacher and Noah Swafford. Sorry, that was row 13. Row 14 with Luigi Diaz-Gonzalez and Anthony Lane. And then now the actual row 15, Joshua Highbaugh and Robert Amaro.
Moving back into 31st position, it will be Michael Campbell with Javier Dawkins-Batiste there in that 32nd spot. Cody Witt and Nicholas Brose in 34th. Chase Medelsky will be 35th, followed by Corey Paintner. Then it's Adrian Portilla and Jorge Rincon in 38th. Zachary Mertz and Aaron Bradford round out your 40-car field for the SRA opener.
And so far, only 2 trucks not putting down qualifying laps this afternoon. Corey Painter, a driver that we have not seen throughout the entirety of the preseason races throughout the last 5 weeks or so. Curious to see what he's going to be able to do for us here this afternoon. But right now, all but 3 have gridded on up. We are just waiting now on the last handful. Let's take a look at the schedule while we're waiting for these trucks to roll off at pit road. We kick things off at Daytona. Next week, it's 200 miles around Atlanta Motor Speedway, followed by trips to Vegas, back to Florida for Miami, then the first short track race of the season at Bristol. From there, it's Rockingham, the first half of the season, closed out by Texas Motor Speedway. Then it's Kansas, North Wilkesboro, and Charlotte for races 8 through 10. The final 4, Nashville Superspeedway, Darlington, Talladega, and we close it out on April 12th with the Avondale 125 at the Phoenix Raceway. It's going to be a wild trip for us here coming up over these next 14 weeks or so, straight through. And then, of course, you get the NASCAR Classic Series. We'll get into all of that, though, later on in the season, but a lot to be hyped about coming on over into a new season, DJ.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And the biggest thing to keep in mind about that schedule is that it is predominantly made up of those intermediate to super speedway ovals. We're going to be talking about a lot of tracks where the throttle application is really going to be where you make your bones. But Bristol, North Wilkesboro, and of course the finale at Phoenix going to be real wild cards for this series, and I think that is where you're going to see some drivers make their bones.
So Anasogak starting up on pole position with a Rowdy Energy Toyota Tundra, but of course, big game today. It's all going to be about the fuel numbers, and it's not where you want to be is up at the front if you're looking to go after the fuel numbers. No 3 wide allowed until lap 17. How do you reckon these first handful of laps might play out there with the rookie up on top?
Well, I think we're going to see a relatively calm running. At least I hope we see a relatively calm running from all of these drivers. Just hold back a little bit. I don't think you need to make your bones here too early. And we think we've got a lot of aggression in that preseason rounds that we talked about. If that continues on here, we could see a little bit of bumping and banging, but hopefully we're going to keep a little bit more calm.
Field works off at turn number 4. iRace Pace Truck pulls down into pit road in the hands of rookie Anasogak. Into the Geico restart zone. A new season is underway. It's go, go, go from the Sunshine State. Two by each all the way back through this field. And it is Michael Gudger trying to pull clear for the top shelf. Gudger leads the first lap of season number 6 in official competition.
Yeah, and we saw some pretty calm driving up through the field. The only driver I really saw switching lanes was Austin Mitchell, going from low to high. That's going to be in about the 13th position or so. Gudger looked like he had a good run on the outside, but as we expect, that momentum shifting back down to the low side through the corners. Here is where I would expect that high lane to start to come into play. Up on the high side, getting a little bit more momentum as they start to push ahead. And Gudger getting a nice push there from Aaron Raymond going into 3.
Yeah, right now, Aaron Raymond, the primary pusher that this field is trying to work with here. You're right on board with him now as we come off of turn numbers 3 and 4, trying to get a square nudge going with the Moser Racing number 64 up the hill. Right now, I think Raymond and, by extension, Fensler, they're trying to just sit back, let this race come to them. There's a long way to go, 250 miles. It's a 100% race for these trucks this afternoon, which is not something we see all that often in IEL competition. But when you get a race like this, you have to play the long game.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking long term. You can't be thinking about this in short spurts. You have to be thinking about that long run. Now, where that strategy is going to come into play a little bit more, if we see a caution here in the first couple of laps, or even a little bit longer on into the stint, don't be surprised if we see some drivers maybe 20th on back deciding to dive down into pit lane and put themselves on that alternate strategy. But I think here for Anzogak, for Fensler, Gudger, Duda, Raymond, these top 10 trucks or so, they're going to want to stick to the strategy that they've had planned out since before the green flag.
So still double file as we can expect this to pan out throughout the course of the first few laps of this race. You see some drivers kind of hanging around back here. They're looking to just drag the brake a little bit. Stay close enough that they can save some fuel, but not close enough that if something happens, they're going to be left with nowhere to go. Two trucks at risk of going a lap down currently. One of them is Xavier Dawkins-Batiste, all the way back in 37th. He has lost the draft, and it's a similar story for Corey Painter, who is just now entering turn number 1. He started his race from pit road. He's going to be going a lap down at about five laps or less here if he doesn't get some help or caution.
He really needs to get that closed back up as soon as humanly possible. It's not going to be a good run if they stay out there. Reason for that, the draft is king here at Daytona and these big super speedways. If you are not stuck up in that draft, you can find yourself losing position and losing a lot of momentum. You just don't go as fast, and it's as simple as that.
Coming around through 3 and 4 and still line astern. Again, no 3 wide allowed until lap 17. That is done partially to try and mitigate a lot of the early lap big ones that a lot of races on iRacing are known for. And to these guys' credit, if they can get through that first series of pit stops, it will be a long green flag run. We saw that the last time we were at Daytona here. They went, over half the race green when they managed to get through the first round of pit stops under green flag conditions. But I think that's the big question. Do we get to that point under green flag conditions? We got it at Talladega, we got it at Daytona, but it did take a caution or two for us to get to that point.
Well, the way they're racing here at this point is, I think, Nolan, they are thinking long game and certainly thinking about that long run. And as you talked about, how to kind of make that all play. So I'm happy to see that for them. So I don't see at this point a reason why we would get an instance to fire off here and get a yellow. But as of right now, looking pretty good, looking pretty clean. Bit of antsiness in that about 5th position on back, but it looks like it's calmed down here a little bit. That's 16. That's scaring me a little bit. That's Dylan Wilbers there, moving a lot on the track. I don't like that diving into the corner.
You gotta have some confidence in your car, and if you're not gonna have the confidence in your car, you're not gonna have a lot of drivers willing to work with you. You see one driver dropping out and fading to the rear of the field. That is the 22 entry of Joshua Jernigan, who just dropped out and fell all the way to the back. He is now down 12 positions, looking to just get a little bit of breathing room and find some place to run to if something happens up front.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good call here from Joshua. It's certainly unexpected. If you've got the truck to compete up at the front, you may think that you want to try to hold that a little bit longer and try to work your way towards the front to kind of mitigate that danger area of running into problems. But clearly Jernigan has confidence in his car, or in his truck rather, and he feels okay dropping back and just giving himself a little bit more time to breathe. Didn't see the incident. Maybe he was just around some drivers he didn't really feel comfortable around and decided to take that pull back.
And now they have caught up to Corey Painter, and you're right on board with him now as he's got the rest of the field coming up on his backside. This is going to be a bit of a risky move, and oh boy, oh, I'm not a fan of that. You heard him lift out of the throttle and drag the brakes. Something fierce there coming to the triangle. I know what he's trying to do. He was trying to get down onto the apron and get out of the way, trying to let the whole field through before they get to the corner, but that is risky, jamming on the binders like that when you're still on the racetrack above the apron.
Yeah, it's a little bit sketchy. I think that's just a little bit of a rookie maneuver there. Also, we have seen some changes up front now. Jared Duda and Jason Fensler leading those two lines. They've suckled back Justin Anasogak into what is ostensibly that third place position up on the high side. So Anasogak moving up to the high line in front of Gudger.
And right now, Duda doing a pretty good job on trying to run that line. He's going to jump back down low and cut off Jason Fensler. I think right now Duda's trying to control both lines more or less. Anasogak's been doing a good job as well on just staying up at the head of this field here from the drop of the hat. I mean, he has not faltered at all. He has always been leading either the inside line or the outside line. But again, this is the tricky part, right? How much do you really want to be leading that line? Because of how short the fuel runs here on a track like this, you're not going to be as far down on fuel as you would be if we were running 100% tanks. Gudger's not confident, though. Look at him jumping down to the inside there when he had a chance.
Yeah, clearly doesn't exactly like it, so wants to try to make that move down to the low side. Not sure what he's doing, but Gudger just, it looks like that upper lane rather, starting to fan out a little bit more.
And more trucks bailing out to the low side, and they're probably prepping for the pit stop cycle because we're less than 10 laps away from that. Again, estimated pit stop window around lap 17 to 20 thereabouts. 17 is when we're allowed to go 3 wide. So we're starting to see more and more drivers hop down low. There's Brennan Gregg, just jumped onto the inside lane this last time by. Brennan Gregg is a driver that knows what to do, and just in front of him, you see Dylan Wilbers just managed to tuck in the line.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. With that upper lane losing momentum, you see the stragglers just fanning out across the board, and that's really lost them. Really now it's only Anasogak trying to hold up that line. Looks like the 25 here is going to try to make a play. That's Ryan Wayne trying to get some momentum back into that high line. Now up front, looks like Fensler's trying to make a little bit of a play. Thought about going up high as well.
Thought about going up high, decided against it. Fensler stays in line, and frankly, I like the stay in line call, right? There's no reason to try to make any kind of big plays for the lead right now. You're only a tenth of the way, just over a tenth of the way through this race. You have a long way to go yet before this race is at its conclusion.
Yeah, you really do. Just be smart about it. That's the biggest thing here. That's what we want to be preaching in this race. You just need to be smart in the way you play.
Few trucks trying to still make that move up top. Anasogak's got a new pusher. He is now linked up with the 25 entry. That is Ryan Wayne. Charlie Birch also up there on the high side. Austin Mitchell running the top lane as well. So 4 trucks up high, but everyone else still running down low. There's a bit of a secondary outside line going a bit further down the field, but again, not a lot of momentum on the high side. People are trying to gear up for pit stops coming up here in just a little while. And you have to wonder if maybe the guys on the outside, they're starting to lift out of the throttle just a little bit more, trying to make sure they can go the extra lap that they're going to have to when they can't get down low.
Yeah, I think they are. They're going to have to just play it out as much as they can. Going to have to see, though. I don't like how few trucks are up on that high lane. There we see a little bit farther back in the pack there. That's going to be an attempt to get that second high lane run, and that's going to be the 82 up there. Anthony Lane trying to get a little bit more. They need to get a little bit more push. They need to get a little bit more together to try to catch that opening pack, and if they can, that could be a huge boon and huge positions gained for that lead, that trailing pack.
Batiste looking out of the back bumper. You can see this field closing in, and he is taking a smart move. He's keeping that truck pinned up high. Now he's going to jump back down low, try to give some draft to Jared Duda. Duda's not complaining about that. He can save a little bit of fuel now behind Batiste. And Batiste is now going to get down onto the apron to let the field through. Now, technically 3 wide here. You are allowed to go 3 wide in this situation to get around traffic like that, so long as you get it doubled out as quickly as reasonably possible. So there is some wiggle room, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well, and not to mention the facts here that you see that 66 down on the apron, making things a little bit easier, and so that's going to change things up. Unfortunately there, it does look like that Batiste really kind of lost the momentum. Here we've got a little bit of a 2-cut truck breakaway up at the front there with Duda and Fensler, but I say breakaway, it's only about a truck's length between themselves and Lively.
And here we go, first pit stops of the season coming down this time by, that's a bit early honestly than I was anticipating. Look out as the 4! George Cafrides slides into pit road. Oh, and then the 39 gets hit into his pit stall.
Oh, and we saw this plenty of times,
boy.
whether it was earlier or whether it was earlier on in the season, just drivers trying to hold them together, not having the best results going down into the pit lane.
You saw Thomas Lane Jr. actually hit the wall entering his pit stall. First one out going to be Zane Bailey. Michael Gutcher, Jared Duda not able to get the drop on him. Fuel only for everyone back to Buwalda. Buwalda took 2 tires. Lane and Whip both took 4. I don't agree with a 4-tire call this early on. You don't need that after just 15 laps. And frankly, if you do, something is seriously wrong with your truck.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact, by taking the 4 tires at this point in the race, you run the risk of falling out of the queue. We talk about pitting in races such as this. You have to pit in a group of trucks. You cannot solo pit here, and so by taking those 4 tires, you run the risk of falling out of that grouping.
Fensler and Moore catching up to the tail end of 66 for a second time. This time, Batiste not willing to make it as easy. He just came down to pit road as well. So they're going to go 3 wide for a moment to split him. We are on lap 17. 3 wide is now on the cards. Oh, one truck catching the outside wall. That was Anthony Lane that just snapped into the fence coming off of turn 4.
Got to be careful with that. Even a little bit of minor aerodynamic disruption on these trucks at the speed they're going, which is about 185, 190 miles an hour, can really slow the truck down. Let's take a look at exactly what happened. Just got loose coming off of 4. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication with the truck down on the low line, but that was a little strange.
I don't even think he got loose. I think the air just kind of sucked him in. Look at Fensler drop down a little front of Jernigan. Van Leer trying to follow. Didn't get clear, so Van Leer and Raymond now in lockstep up on the high side. And I think, yep, we're going to be seeing a bunch more trucks coming in. Well, maybe just 2. Look out for the 13 of Anasogak getting a bit crossed up. He and Fensler both get down to the minors, and they are safely into pit road.
Now, I'm a little bit worried here if I'm into Sogak and Fensler. 2 trucks is not enough to make a big draft train. That is going to put them farther back in the order, and I think Van Leer and Raymond are going to be at the catbird seat when things come back around.
So several trucks making their way out there. There you see Corey Painter, slow on the racetrack. He just came out of pit road this last time by. You see all the track map, all the field spread about. The 13, that's Anna Sogak, right where he is with his truck number. The 64, that's Michael Gudger and his crew. Then you got the 35, Bill Hales, John Buwalda Jr., and Cafrides all came in as well. And here comes another big chunk of them.
Yeah, there's a couple there that are making their way down in. Not seeing any lockups. Looks like everybody got down to speed correctly and no real problems there, so that's good news. Trucks starting to peel off into their pit stalls.
No problems so far.
Oh,
Well, one problem. Mike Allen catching the wall, and he's going to have to reposition. Might have stalled there. That's going to he could lose a lap because of that eventually, because of the draft.
I think he will lose a lap as a result of that. Ooh, and
It's
it
not the
looks
only
like
one. Look
there,
at the 16.
yeah, 16 had to completely reposition the truck there as well, so that's more problems down on pit lane. That's 16, by the way, Dylan Wilbers. I can tell you that the likes of Gudger and them are absolutely steamrolling their way on by. And look at this scrap coming in.
Holy cow, Austin Mitchell. I thought he was going to go around. Great job on locking it down. And this is everybody else. So this will end the pit stop cycle. And the 71 gets sideways, entering his pit stall, able to lock it down. Looking like the 21 might have had some issues sliding into his box with Bruce Dudley. And one truck missed the box altogether. Nicholas Braz coming back onto the racetrack. So is Charlie Birch.
Oh, and you hate to see that there for them. That means they're going to have to cycle back around, go back under pit lane speed, and do this all over again. Absolute heartbreak there. Not what they want to see, but that's going to be a little bit of a problem there. And it looks like Bros may even just be calling it.
So Paul Witt will pick up the net race lead as a result. Zane Bailey second, Duda third, Gudger fourth, and they are on a massive breakaway from everybody else. They were in pit road for a good second less than everybody else. That's why they're able to get that much of a time out in front.
Yeah, so the question there is going to be, did they maybe underfuel the car ever so slightly, banking on a caution to come out a little bit later? Nonetheless, what's interesting to me about this is the multitudes of, as we've got the 81 trying to wiggle their way.
Out of fuel.
Oh, out of fuel there. But what's interesting to me is that we've got a pretty wide discrepancy when it comes to pit lane. We've got everything from 16 to 21 where these drivers are making their pit stops, which is really a pretty wide open window when we talk about super speedway racing.
So looking at Charlie Birch, he is out of fuel. He's coasted to pit road. Why is he wiggling around like that, though?
He's trying to extract as much momentum as he can out of the car, would be my guess of it. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work because the more you go laterally, that slows you down with friction and all of that.
He might have made it back if he didn't do that.
He might have. It's kind of one of those sort of placebo effect things.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. So four-truck breakaway by now 5.7 seconds. And again, I want to point out, Bailey, Duda, Gudger, Witt, they're averaging about 34.2.3 seconds in the box. Everybody else, 35.2s to 0.9s. So about a second less in the box, and that equals 6 seconds on track. That is a huge margin, and I think that's how critical on... and that shows how critical it is to get with a group of guys that you know you can pit around, because they only have 4 versus the dozen or so that are here, and they're still pulling away.
Yeah, they're still pulling away. It's because they're linked up. They're together. They're able to make this push together. It's great.
They are just walking away with it. And then there is your second pack, headed up by pole sitter Justin Anasogak, Fensler, and more still down the field as well. Charlie Birch, by the way, making his way back out onto the racetrack, had to take the tow. He is down. He is not out. He is going to try and make another attempt at it. So he will re-enter the racetrack, but now he is 2 laps down.
All right, that is going to be a real heartbreak there for them. Here comes those packs. Now, the question's going to be here for this second pack, if they can bring themselves together, not really poke themselves out of line all that much, push ahead as much as possible, will they be able to catch the likes here of Duda, Gudger, and Bailey and get their way back forward?
So Anasogak and Fensler will keep on riding, and we will tick over on to lap 25. With us just being about a quarter of the way through, we'll take a look on what's coming up on Green Flag TV. Coming on up tomorrow night, the High Tide Racing League gets set to lock out the top 12 of the points. It's a 3-way fight for the final transfer spot into the playoffs. Don't want to miss the 200-mile slugfest at the Kansas Speedway 9 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night. And then at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night, we swing back to the Sunshine State. The Ole Miss Rail Cup Series back in full force for round number 2 at Homestead Miami Speedway. And then the Beer League swings to Lexington, Ohio, to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, almost becoming a seasonal tradition that we see that league swinging on out there. Their run to the BMW M2s should be a good ride in of itself. All of that will take us through to, well, next Saturday night for here, where we're at Hampton, Georgia. Well, I'll be at Hampton, Georgia. You got a kart race to call, as I understand it.
Yeah,
so,
I'll be down. I'll be down with the Rock Cup down in Orlando next weekend. So
there you go.
I will
You're
not
going to
be
the Sunshine State. It's close enough.
Exactly. I'll be there in spirit.
Orlando is in Florida, right? Before I look like
Yes,
an
it
idiot
is.
here.
It is in
Okay.
Florida. It's smack dab in the middle of the state.
There's an Orlando, I think, up here in Canada as well, so you can't ever be too careful with these things.
Are you implying that Americans steal names from other countries when naming their cities? We don't ever
No,
do
there's
that.
just New York, there's New Orleans. It's fine, it's fine.
Oh, just go through Indiana. It's pretty fantastic, except that all
boy.
of the names are mispronounced.
Oh, gosh.
It's not Milan, it's Milan. It's not Versailles, it's Versailles.
Wait, seriously?
I'm dead serious.
It is
It's
actually called Versailles,
Versailles,
unironically.
Indiana. Unironically, Versailles, Indiana. I'm stumped.
One of the times I wish we had webcams, because my face of befuddlement is that my brain has fizzled, and I think I felt a few brain cells die with that noise.
That's Southern Indiana for you, baby.
Boy, oh boy.
Yep. Back to racing.
You got your second pack there. Then here's your third pack. This one headed up by Mike Campbell at the front. Bill Hales, the primary pusher. John Boulder Jr. running in the background. Didn't see much of Bawalda last season. I was honestly a little bit disappointed. Bawalda was a big competitor in Season 4 when we first started broadcasting the series. He wasn't around much, though, at least in a race-winning position throughout Season 5 to give much of a fight. It was more of a fight between Bailey, Scott Rankin, and Aaron Raymond. But who knows? If he can get that act together, he could be another title force, but he's not off to a good start, is he? Running outside of the top 20, or just inside the top 20.
No, it's not the best position, and at this point, the way this race is going, I'm a little bit concerned, and I maybe want to try to get a little bit of a move on. He is a Baltimore native. Baltimore is currently playing in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. Maybe he's just a little bit distracted, so that could be part of it. But no, I think if you're running in this third pack, it may be a little bit of a time for worry. If you're running in the second pack, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. But this third pack, that would scare me a little.
I have seen a few drivers start to poke out a line here. We see Brendan Gregg doing the same thing, trying to drop towards the rear, save a little bit of extra fuel, unless Brendan Gregg's actually trying to make a move. But if he is, he had absolutely no one go with him. And then here is the fourth pack. It's one of the smaller ones. The only one smaller than is actually the top four. Headed up by Thomas Lane Jr., Cody Whit, the main pusher, Campbell, Modzelewski, Wilbers, Amaro Jernigan, and Allen are all in this pack. These are the last trucks that are on the lead lap.
Yeah, last trucks that are on the lead lap, they're just going to be holding on to table scraps here at this point. They're going to be praying for a yellow to come out to be able to bunch the field back up. And crucially, as we tick over here onto lap 30, we saw that fuel window about 15 to 20 laps or so. So I would imagine here 31 to 36 is when we're going to see this next round of pit stops happen. And I think at that point, we may even see this field spread out a little bit more. There you see Duda sliding back into third in line. I don't think he was hitting his fuel number and needed to just get a little bit of draft going on.
I like it. He strategically gives that spot up, and that's very, very smart because right now, in this pack, well, it's now 6 with 2 lap trucks. From the last pit stop window, they were about 4 or 5 seconds when they first left pit road. It's up to 10 now. They are continuing to pull away here, which is not something you see all that often with these smaller packs at a super speedway like this. But I think Jared Duda recognizes just how valuable it is to be with this group here. He cannot afford to be a lap short on fuel.
No, he cannot, and he's got to make sure he hits those numbers. Those are going to be pre-figured out by the driver or the team, depending on how much they've got in the bank, depending on how much they're able to really strategize. Let's see here. All right, this is, I believe, that second pack. Some drivers starting to think about forming into a line. That's going to be that number 15, Jason Fensler. Fensler's looked flirty is the best way to describe it. The California native working his way forward. He's been kind of playing up, seeing if he can get a second line to go. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Mike Campbell, fastest lap of the race last time by, or at least it was. He had put down a 46.43 2 laps ago. So Campbell with the fastest lap, not like that means a whole lot in terms of overall pace, but he and Fensler are moving. They were in the middle of the pack a lap ago, and now they're trying to battle their way up and fight for sixth.
That's a bit aggressive and a little bit surprising, I won't lie. I mean, I like the resolve here from Fensler. I like seeing that push his way forward. And he and Mike Campbell clearly have a nice thing going on, that they're going to be able to get it. Fensler is able to get down to the low line. It looks like Campbell may be left out to dry ever so slightly. He is going to be able to slot his way in line, but not what I would have expected to see, but I love seeing that kind of aggression.
So they'll fight their way down to the turn number 1. Fensler still now ahead of Campbell, and critically, packs 2 and 3 have gotten formed up. Joshua Hyabaugh has gone to the high side. He's taken Anthony Lane with him. So these 2 packs, they've managed to group up in a one longer train, but they are still losing time. And I think it's all of these moves that people are making to try to advance their position in this pack. That's what's costing them a lot of time. You see, the top 4, they're driving to win. These guys are driving to not crash.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mentality breakdown here. That's really the way they're thinking about it. And I like seeing that mentality.
One truck slow, and boy, nearly got taken out by Kefrides there. That was Painter that was low on the racetrack, just trying to see if he could get something rolling, and he nearly got clobbered by Kefrides up the backside.
Gotta be careful here. We're getting down into that area where things get a little bit worrisome. Let's take a look at this replay. Yeah, there you see, you've got to be careful. Whoa! That was a little bit closer than I'd like to see it.
It's closer than I thought it was as well. I mean, good reactions, I guess, but you should have been making that move up a while ago. Guess he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Oh, man. This is the point in the race where I think you're going to start seeing a little bit of that aggression coming down into pit stop cycle number 2. Let's see if they play it forward and if anybody decides to get a little bit snippy here coming down into this moment.
On board with Gudger. Cody Witt has come down to pit road, so is Thomas Lane Jr. They're the first 2 trucks to pit. And here comes the top 4.
Not surprising that we're going to see these 4 all pit together. Perfect action there. A little bit interesting that Duda and Bailey kind of tied coming down into the pit lane there as they did it. That's a good run from Bailey to maybe get himself ahead. They're going to come down into their pit stalls here. Not seeing a whole lot of confusion. A little bit more difficult there for the 429. And here comes a big group from that second pack as well.
Raymond, Greg, Hales, Bawalda, Kolmelsberger, Kefrides, and Swafford are all in. Now, this is the hazardous part. Dodging trucks getting into the pit stalls while you're trying to get out. Zane Bailey, first one out. Then it's Duda, Witt, and Gudger might have lost the pack.
Yeah, Gudger may be a little bit farther back on this. Looks like the majority that came down in that second pack are going to be able to keep it together. Now, look at this up in the front of the field. Jason Fensler up into the lead of this race. We were a little bit critical of that aggressive move from Fensler, but Fensler played his cards right. He spent a lot of time back in traffic. You see him going by pit entry there. He's going to be able to lead a couple of laps of this race, and if things keep going the way they are, that number 15 truck is going to be in position to lead into the pit stops, just making it all the more likely he'll lead on the way out.
Approaching the 2/5 mark through this race. Lap 40, not too far away. These drivers last pitted on lap 18, so they are right on the money of being able to make it. Trouble front, turn 1. Dylan Wilbur's into the infield. No caution yet. He hops across the access road, heads up for the 77 of Amaro coming onto the racetrack. And looking like no yellow, we'll keep that green, but look at all that grass how they just kicking up onto the exit lane. That's not going to be pleasant on cold tires.
Now, let's remember here, we've got to talk about iRacing's new dirt model that they have rolled out. If you come across the track here and kick up dirt like that, that dirt will now be active on the track. Take a look at the replay of exactly what happened to Wilbur's. So, as you said, that is a little bit too much throttle. Just a little bit too much throttle and he got it around. But what the big problem is going to be here is exactly as you said, Nolan, that dirt, that debris is going to be out on the pit out area on cold tires, and that could be a real danger spot for a couple of these drivers.
Not to mention, it's going to be on the fastest point of the racetrack where there's no banking on it exit pit road as well. So this is going to be dicey here when they leave pit road. Fensler will lead the way, and whoa, lean hard into the inside wall. Huge hit for the 82.
I don't even know what happened there. It looks like he almost had an error and misreleased the brakes or something. He's going to take a fast tow back down into pit lane. That'll probably be his race done. A little bit of a backup there, it looked like. Let's take a look. Oh, he just lost it. He got sideways, couldn't get the car underneath, the truck underneath him, and that was enough to send him in. There he tries to take a little bit of a maneuver, tries to hold out, just carries too much speed, too much wheel, too much brake, and right into the fence.
And Joshua Heibach can thank his lucky stars. He was inches away from getting cleaned out there. Here comes everyone else except Boston Mitchell. Might think about staying out. He will make the decision to commit, but nearly ran over the 71, and now the 71 is around.
More calamity coming down into pit lane. Not what you want to see from these drivers. That is a very, very rough run for that number 71 truck.
Wow, this is getting antsy here coming down into pit road. This is what happened to Campbell. Watch Austin Mitchell here. He ducks around Dale Rapp, and he's hard on the brakes. And Campbell, trying to lock it down, just lost the tail end.
Yeah, just lost the tail end of it there. A little bit surprising that it was past that point of slowdown. I wonder if he had picked up a pit lane speeding penalty as well.
Dylan Grutzmacher and Rincon are the last two to come down to pit road. And there you see Grutzmacher, chattering on the brakes, and so was Rincon. Rincon slides right through. And he did get, credit to him. I thought he went right through his box. No, he slowed that thing down in time on a 4-tire slide.
Yeah, very impressive to be able to see that. Let's see what happens here at this point as everything gets cycled back out and around.
Jared Duna will be the race leader as Michael Gudger in second. Thomas Lane Jr. splits them both. He is lap traffic, and right now Lane is your lucky dog driver.
All right, so Duda and Gudger back out up front, although that gap has grown a little bit. It's now about, well, it's actually fallen down a little bit, 7.7 seconds to this last group. Nope, make it 9 as Fensler is able to get it back around. So, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
You can see right now a lot of these smaller 2-3 truck packs started to bundle up together and pick one another up as they go. Grutzmacher will be able to tag onto the back end of the 7 and the 3 of Mitchell and Williams here, so we won't lose too much time at least. He'll maintain his run in 11th. There goes another truck coming down to pit road. Who's that from behind? That's Rincon coming back to pit road.
Could this be potentially a pit lane speeding penalty for Rincon? We'll have to see. I'm not sure if we've got any furled flags on his entry list. I don't
would have had to have been on exit.
Yeah, I don't see any here at this point. But there it is. It's on exit. And he definitely just did a pass-through, so that is indeed a pit lane speeding penalty.
So shifts up to second. And having some connection difficulties.
I wonder if having that connection difficulty in the pit lane set off a trigger there, and it wasn't able to regulate the speed for him.
That might do it. You know what that might have been then? It might have caught you It might have he might have blinked in right at pit exit, skipping over all of the timing lines.
Yep. I think that's probably the most likely answer.
That's rough. Lead change. Gutcher pulls out a line. Bailey going to push up to the back of Thomas Lane Jr. Says, I'll lead some laps. I don't mind. I'm sure Thomas Lane Jr. doesn't mind this because now if a caution comes out, he can get his lap back without needing to take a lucky dog free pass.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be in good position on that. Little bit of movement there, though, from Bailey. I don't think he's fully happy about that. That kind of movement in the back normally tends to be a sign of anger.
Look at all the lap traffic behind these guys as well. Robert Amaro, Cody Witt, Chase Modzalewski, the 45, the 29 are all in this group. So there's a lot of lap trucks that are in this pack. Out of this whole train, though, only 4 are on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's really surprising to me. I would have thought this lead pack would have a few more in it, but it's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the race here, Nolan. The fact that you've got to execute. It coming down into pit lane on a super speedway race such as this really changes things around.
Secondary pack, Justin Anasilgak, Dale Rapp, both on their way up to the high side of the racetrack. So they're going to continue on their strong little drive of their own here. Well, we've had a few incidents under the last pit stop run. Do we want to talk to potentially Anthony Lane, see what happened?
Yeah, I'd be actually very curious to see what happened there. It did look like it was just kind of a series of unfortunate events, but my goodness.
Well, I'll let you take this one away. We'll bring Anthony Lane up into the broadcast booth as he continues to sit on pit road.
Anthony Lane joining us up here in the booth while presumably you're getting some repairs done on the car. But Anthony, what happened out there?
They just locked up and around she went, and I couldn't get it back under control before I met the wall.
Well, are you getting some repairs done? Are you going to be heading back out on track, or is this a park situation for the night, unfortunately?
Unfortunately, it's a park situation. Too much damage, so I'm spotting for my teammates here. Dale Rapp and Mike Allen and Josh Highball and Robert Amaro.
Well, obviously not the way you want to start this season off, but could you take any good lessons from this as we head into Atlanta in the following weeks?
Yeah, worked well with my teammates, and we fell behind a little bit on that pit stop, but we caught back up to the 5th place car there, so we were just trying to run it in line, you know. Went to pit, and it just locked up, so pretty much it.
Well, never the way you want to see anybody end a race. Anthony Lane, thanks for joining us here, and we'll see you next week in Atlanta.
All right, appreciate what you guys do.
Appreciate you as well. That is Anthony Lane Jr. down on pit lane after crashing out into the pits on lap 37.
Tough break for Anthony Lane, and he's a guy that's been running with these guys for quite a while now, so we should be able to see him back in full force, hopefully when we swing around to Hampton, Georgia. For now, musical chairs for the lead here. Nobody wants to be the lead of this pack.
Well, what's interesting here is if we got to break down what we saw off of that last pit cycle, the first round of stops were lap 15 to 20. The second round of stops really at lap 36 to 41 is what we saw the majority of them come on. So I'm starting to think more and more that this is all about fuel strategy here at this point, Nolan. I think a lot of these folks are seeing the benefits of stretching these stints as long as possible. If we carry this math out, they're only going to have to make maybe 2 more stops to be able to make this work if they can stretch this up to that 40 mark, up to that full 20 laps a stint.
At this point, it is looking like we're in it for the long haul, right? I mean, if the patterns continue as it is, I don't think we're going to get a caution until we're within 20 to go, easily. I mean, usually once you get out of the first 17, every other 17 from there, it tends to run pretty clean right in the mid-pack here, but you got a lot of lap traffic that's behind, and even Thomas Lane Jr. didn't want to be in the lead of this pack. Even he was wanting to duck out of line, and, well, now he's being shuffled right back to the front.
Well, I can tell you that I did just knock on our patented Green Flag TV block of wood that I keep next to my desk here at this point, but no, I think you're right. The way this is going, we're not going to see some aggressive moves until later. I think everybody's spread out. Everybody's content to run where they are. And if we're going to see an incident, I really anticipate it being in that second group. Fensler, Raymond, Greg, Wayne, Mitchell, all of them on back as they start to get a little bit scrappier. It's 13 seconds all the way up to this leading pack that we keep our eye on right now. And for those drivers, frustration can start to boil up a little bit, and you'll make moves that you wouldn't typically normally make.
Paul Witt jumping up to the outside lane. That's an interesting call from Witt. Maybe he's done running around at fourth, or perhaps he's doing that strategically to pick up Thomas Lane Jr. to make sure that he doesn't lose the top three.
Yeah, could be. It's a combination of things, potentially. I mean, it's really interesting here to see what this strategy is. There's so many of these drivers for these trucks that are off sequence. They're off strategy. They're a lap down, and you've got to feel frustrated for them because they clearly have the pace to hold up with these leaders. It's just a matter of bad pit stop execution and maybe a little bit of bad strategy that came to be the nail in their coffin.
Well, we got ourselves a long green flag running. Why don't we take a run down quickly and take you through the field top to bottom as we hit the halfway point in the SRA Open. Zane Bailey right now leads the way along with Jared Duda in second. Gudger is third with Paul Witt in fourth. Fensler about half a straightaway back is in the number 5 spot along with Aaron Raymond. That is Brandon Gregg, Ryan Wayne, Austin Mitchell, and Anthony Williams closing out the top 10.
Bruce Dudley is in 11th, Laban Van Leer 12th. Then it's Bill Haynes and Dylan Gruchmacher in 14th. 15th is Luigi Gonzalez, followed by Jim Coleman'sberger. So we've got a couple of drivers holding out on low. Then it's Joshua Highbaugh and Justin Anasogak. Your pole sitter falling down to 18th position in a little bit of a battle there with Highbaugh. Now it's Dale Rapp and Noah Swafford round out your top 20.
George Cafridas and John Balda Jr., the last of the lead lap trucks in this secondary pack here. From there, headed up to third, it's Mike Campbell along with Thomas Lane Jr. These are all trucks now that are laps down. Cody Witt is at 25th along with Robert Amaro, Chase Modzalewski, George Rincon, Dylan Wilbers, and Mike Campbell bring up the top 30.
Joshua Jernigan currently runs in 31st, followed by Nicholas Brose. Then it's Michael Allen, Charlie Birch, Javier Dawkins-Baptiste, Corey Painter, Anthony Lane Jr., who we spoke to a little bit earlier. He is parked at this point. Adrian Portilla, and then Zachary Mertz and Aaron Bradford showing up as not running a lap.
So with all that said and done, we are over halfway home at the SRA Open. Pit stops are just a few moments away. And it's been a good race so far. I mean, there's not been much to complain about so far tonight. I am very much looking forward to how this race ends. I think we all love it when a super speedway race like this has the ability to go long. It doesn't happen. It's an anomaly on the iRacing service. And, well, speaking of pit stops, here come the top 4.
Yeah, here they go down on in, and it looks like those 4, once again, get it cleanly.
They have been dialed in all day today. I mean, these 4 have been running together, and it's worth noting, I think only 2 of them are in the same channel as one another, and that would be, oh, no, sorry, there's a few of them. Okay. I'm an idiot. All 4 of them are the same channel. So here we go. So, all right, they're all under Team IEL. That's the point here. So they're going to make their way onto the racetrack once again. That's why they've been so dialed in. It's because they're communicating with each other. That explains a lot. But Fensler once again leading the way, and Fensler historically this race has been one of the drivers to kick off the pit stop window proper. That's the prelude.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a little surprised that they came in this early. I mean, theoretically, they can get to one more stop at this point. I think if they run 20, that should get them to 75. The problem's going to be is if they start to run into a little bit of green-white checker situations. But here comes that second pack. Fensler leading the way.
Dudley, holy cow, just gave everyone in this pack some brown race trousers as he'll make his way to pit road, and I think he might need a change of his own.
Yeah, that was a little bit sketchy there. Let's take a look on board here at this point. Just comes in hot. Got to give him credit here at this point for getting that car woed down.
It could have taken out Brandon Gregg, almost took out the 16 entry of Dylan Wilbers as well. Did a phenomenal job, though, to lock it down. Kept that truck under control, although I feel like control at that point was a little bit relative.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just holding on and praying there at that point.
Austin Mitchell, Bill Hales, Lamont Van Leer, Gonzalez, Bawalda, all coming down to pit road this time by. So they're going to get down onto the lane with no problems. 3 wide, though, and the 90 truck actually held up from getting into his box.
All right. Yep, you're going to hold him up there a little bit as we take a look back out onto the track. This is the 72 up there, riding the high side, the 25 down low. Really just trying to hold out here as they keep their game going. Ryan Wayne right now currently leading the field in that number 25. Again, just going to hold that up there a little bit more.
Why not? Lead some laps.
Yeah.
Hope for a caution. Then you can be on top of the strategy here.
I mean, I kind of like that. And like I said, keep running like this. I think...
Oh, trouble! There it is! Big hit into the fence. The 72 gets turned. And a Sogak, the pole sitter's involved, and caution flag is out for the first time tonight.
All right, now this is going to play in big to anybody who was able to avoid that calamity and get through cleanly. And I think Ryan Wayne is the chief antagonist there. He's got it a little bit harder there for that number 72 machine of Michael Campbell. That truck looks a little damaged.
He definitely got the worst of it. There is Zane Bailey and Moore, the drivers that were the first ones to come down to pit road, making their way out. That was a rough ride through the tri-oval there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened. I think it may have just been a little bit of a bad push coming on through, but nevertheless, I'm sure we'll get some replays pulled up here and try to dissect what happened. Here we go. As we take a look right now. Yep. It's a bad push.
Wow.
Bad push by the number 13.
And then went down, got into 3, and then hard to the outside wall. The truck jumps off the ground, but it does settle itself. There you see the 41 of Highbaugh spin around. So only about a 2 or a 3 truck incident, but that is a hard lick that the 72 took there.
Yeah, that's probably terminal damage at this point, I would have to say. Let's take another look at it. There you can see just that little bit of a rough push, just kind of not fully center on the back of the truck, and whammo right into the wall.
And then Dale Rapp's the one that caught Highbaugh and sent him spinning all the way around, but Highbaugh did a good job to lock it down. And, you know, what have we said time after time again? You cannot lean on the left front of these trucks.
No, you really cannot. You gotta be careful. You gotta make sure that you know how to play it. There it is from Anna Sogak, just a little overeager.
Anna Sogak came in his first race with this league, was in the preseason race at Talladega. He was able to come away, I think, with the win in that race, didn't he?
If I remember correctly, yes.
Now, penthouse to the outhouse. Ryan Wayne comes down to pit road. And this is pretty much everybody now trying to get back on the same fuel cycle. I'd be shocked if we didn't see anybody come down to pit road.
Yeah, I think everybody can come on in here at this point. This is going to be lap 58, and this is pretty much going to commit this race to a one stop from here on out. If you can make it, well, no, I still think it's going to be a little bit tight. You've got to basically go 20 from here. That'll get you to lap 80. You've still got to stretch a little bit.
Jason Fensler caught the wall as he entered this pit stall. He's going to drop all the way to the tail end. Ryan Wayne will be the leader for the first time on actual pace now instead of you know, through pit stops. And I mean, hey, we said he was hoping for a caution, and a caution he got.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it can play here at this point. Here they go. Let's see if they can be able to get it. I'd be very interested to see what exactly will play out, though, in terms of the pace of the rest of these drivers.
Green flag coming on out in just a little while. We'll take a quick step back when we return. It's 1 to go on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Getting set to return to Green Flag Racing, Wayne, Bailey, Williams, Rapp, Gudger, and Duda for the first 3 rows. You're watching the SRA Open on Green Flag TV for the SRA IEL Truck Series. My name is Will Rempel alongside DJ Clark. And first caution of the day, past the halfway mark. And DJ, now we are not restricted to the lap 17 3-wide rule. I think this is where the race enters a new dimension.
Well, I know we're not on camera right now, but if we were, you could see me rubbing my hands together because this is about to get very, very interesting.
I think you and I are both doing the same thing, right? We both know how this is going to pan out. We've seen how it pans out. We saw it just last week at Talladega Super Speedway with... dude, I'm still in shock of that finish. The closest finish in this league's history, the closest finish on Green Flag TV, the biggest crash on Green Flag TV, the most trucks into the air on one time on Green Flag TV. That is still one of the most spectacular things I have ever seen in my life. And there's no promises we're not going to get something that tries to top it here in this one.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy last week, but I think as we've now gotten the field bunched up again, and they are all on the lead lap, down to 28th position. So we've got plenty of drivers and plenty of trucks that are ready to try to push their way forward.
Green flag coming out this time by Pace Truck, pulls down and into pit road. In the hands of Ryan Wayne. Green flag is back in the air as racing action resumes at the World Center of Racing.
All right, looks like a pretty good getaway there down on the low side for Wayne and Williams. Bailey trying to build that momentum, but everybody's bailed on him. It's him and Dale Rapp up high, and that is it for 5 or 6 trucks.
Well, remember, there's still 2 more pit stops left in this race. You cannot go the distance from here. You got to pit at least one more time, and then it should be another splash and go. But here's the thing. That splash and go, it's going to be real close, and we're talking marginally close, maybe within 5 laps of the finish.
Yeah, I mean, if we get some more caution, it may help them. The longest we've seen these drivers be able to run is 20 laps on a full tank. So theoretically, you can make it to lap 80. You should be able to make this to the end, but yeah, that's pretty close.
28 trucks remain on the lead lap out of the 38 that started this race. There is still 34 on the racetrack. Xavier Dawkins Batiste is the last one running. Michael Campbell the third. Corey Painter, Anthony Lane, and Adrian Portilla are all down and out of this race. And you called it correctly when it happened, right? Terminal damage for Campbell. It really sucks. I mean, he had been running a pretty calm race. It wasn't anything stellar, but he had kept the truck clean, and something happened that wasn't even of his own doing.
No, just got caught out wrong there, unfortunately, and that can be enough to throw you around. That's why this Super Speedway racing is so terrifying at points. It is very, very difficult and very, very scary at points because, you know, outside of your own making.
And again, I mean, we can talk all we want about, you know, how this racing is, but there's no better way than actually figure out how it looks in the car. So, like, you look at this from about outside, and it's like, yeah, it looks like they got a lot of room to work with. This is what they see in the truck, and all of a sudden, they got no room at all.
Yeah, absolutely no room at all. They've got to try to hold it together. They've got to make sure that they get everything together, and you have got to trust implicitly the other drivers around him.
Saw a lot of trucks jump up to the outside lane. Not a lot of loyalty was shown there early on the restart, but now you see a lot more drivers starting to migrate up to the high side. So the 52, the 60, the 25, the 71 are all up there. Dale Rat clears down low for the race lead, so Dale Rat now leads the way on a little bit of a breakaway, but here comes Van Leer, shoved by Campbell, trying to get to the front.
Yeah, and if they can get that high lane working here again, that's going to be a big boon to them. I would expect this to stay 2 wide. I'm a little surprised that we're not seeing drivers go a little bit 3 wide here, try to push their way a little bit more aggressively, but at this point, looks like they're pretty content to just be where they are.
Off of turn number 4, we still have a vote going in our YouTube chat of the question of, will a rookie win the SRA Open? 65% of 17 say yes, the other 35 say no. I still don't think that possibility is out, given that Ryan Wayne is in the top 3 rows. He is, of course, one of the many rookies in the field, and Kafridas is also sitting just outside of the top 10.
All right, let's see if they decide to play. I got to agree with you. I think a rookie can win this race. This is certainly one of those races that a rookie can win if they're able to keep on it and keep together. So let's see what they do here. Like what I'm seeing out of this high lane. A little bit of a move there, coming up high for Zane Bailey, just trying to find his way forward. Interesting to see what they try to do as this continues to go along.
Mike Campbell, Dale Rabb, Ryan Wayne, Anthony Williams, Devon Van Leer for the top 5. While drivers are single filing out, Slow behind down to the inside of the racetrack. The further back again, the more discombobulated this field is. And again, I think we're seeing a lot of what we saw in the first pack back here, right? A lot of these trucks, they're not confident in the front runners, and they're trying to give themselves some breathing room in the event of a big crash up the road. The problem is, when you lay this far back, that's how we get the 2 or 3 different trains that we saw at the end of the first pit stop run back on lap 17.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to start to push your way ahead a little bit more. This is the time in the race where you really need to start being a little bit more aggressive, start pushing your way forward, and wait and see, and take that wait and see mentality out of it, push ahead.
Odds-on favorites to win this race. I would honestly, it's difficult, right? I mean, I want to say Paul Witt's got a great chance to win this race. Paul Witt is the super speedway guru of the SRA IEL Truck Series. I think the last 3 or 4 super speedway races, he has won all of them. He won both of them in the preseason races. He won the race at Talladega 1 season ago. He won the Robert Jordan 200, the Memorial race. He is absolutely on top in that 429 when it comes to these racetracks, but he's not really been in a position to contend for much of a race win so far. Sure, he was running with the top 4, but he had to work with them. He wasn't really leading a lot of laps, and now he's in the midfield.
Yeah, in the midfield here at this point, pushing his way forward. You cannot keep him out of this conversation. He's got to try to see what he can do. I think he's got a real good chance of it.
Mike Campbell's been leading quite a few laps ahead of this field alongside Dale Rabb. Chase Modzelewski for CRM Racing right now, the driver that has made up the most positions. He is plus 23, running back in the 12th place spot right now. But again, I'm a bit surprised we haven't seen a lot of 3-wide action. I mean, it's been doubled up, sure, but we haven't seen any of the 3-wide that we were expecting to off of this restart.
No, I'm a little surprised by that as well. I really thought things were going to get, well, for lack of a better term, nasty here at this point. We were going to start to see them really get to play and get a little bit fiddly as things went along, but that's not the case here. Everybody's keeping calm, cool, and collected. Everybody's staying together, and we're not seeing any of that aggressive 3-wide action. Now, when we get to these last pit stops, then I think the gloves may come off.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we have to get out of the first pit stop window first. before we can really get to that. And I don't know why I didn't clock it sooner. Of course people are waiting. We got into the pit stop window. Why bother going 3 and potentially 4 wide when you have to come down the pit road? It's suicide for your race, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, it really is. It's not the best way to do it. So let's see what they decide to do. Campbell up leading this race. Ooh, a little bit of a sketchy push there up on the high side. That was the 25 of Ryan Wayne and Lyman Van Leer. Just not exactly syncing up, but good credit there to Ryan Wayne to be able to hold that truck together.
Oh, contact between Dale Rapp and the 25 of Ryan Wayne. Rapp drifting up to the inside, door checks the 25, and now all over the shot for the top 2, and that's causing a massive stack up throughout that inside line. Heads up, and we'll manage to survive that, but that got a little bit dicey coming off of 4.
Yeah, got a little bit slicey dicey. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but they were able to keep it together. It just shows you the kind of micro adjustments that you have to make if you are going to be racing in a race such as this.
A few more trucks jumping down to the inside line, possibly trying to prepare for the pit stops coming on up in about 5 to 10 laps or so. Gudger, one of many that has jumped down to the bottom side. Kafrida is still working up top, but look at how much that outside lane is now faltering in pace. I think that might have shaken a lot of drivers' confidence in what just happened.
Yeah, I think it was as well, and I think you're going to see a little bit more of a conceded effort to maybe be a little calmer going forward, maybe feeling a little bit gun-shy after everything.
One truck losing time. It is trying to find it somewhere eventually. It is Michael Campbell off a pit road. Oh boy! One truck in the background, way sideways, coming off of turn 2.
Very lucky to be able to hold on to that. My goodness, I don't know.
It's Cody Wint. What was that?
That was something else. Oh.
Oh, we'll get back to this because we have pit stops underway right now. Several trucks down to the pit road. In fact, about a third of the field.
All right, here they go. Everybody coming down in. This is going to be early, so we are going to see one more stop after this.
I like it. Don't try to stretch it halfway. Everybody knows you're going to be pushing hard anyway. You may as well split it in thirds at that point. Kind of mitigate some of the risk. Not to mention, there was that lap truck that were approaching as well, so they wanted to get out of the way before they hit them.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point.
I will try to get another look at what happened here to Cody Witt here, coming off of turn number 2. Watch this. Oh, he caught the wall. Caught the wall, and then Dudley could thank his lucky stars. He managed to wrangle that truck back underneath him. I thought it was going around for sure.
Yeah, I thought he did as well. Let's see if they're going to be able to gain themselves back up here around and try to go. Campbell still leads, and we're down to one lane up on the high side.
They're one lane running now. Campbell wrapped their single file all the way back, I think, to actually about where Campbell is. I think Campbell has been caught, and he has. So, yeah, we're single file all the way now throughout the leading pack as we approach the 1 quarter to go mark. So several trucks have already come down. We are waiting now on 1st through 17th that have not pitted under this green flag run as of yet.
All right, so they're all holding out here at this point. Going to wait to see what they're going to be able to do. Let's see if anybody else decides to make that peel down. Watch that. Oh, somebody hard down to the pits. Oh, another car, another truck. 22.
Jernigan around, and you mentioned somebody into the wall. That was Thomas Lane Jr. How much are you willing to bet that those 2 incidents are related?
I probably think they are. I've got a sneaking suspicion that there could have been a little bit of tumbling dice going on here.
There's Lane coming in. Oh, and Jernigan just didn't stop.
Oh,
wow.
And that is a hard hit into that outside safer barrier.
Yeah, just never slowed down on the brakes whatsoever. Talk about way underestimated. That's what we call target fixation right there.
Yeah, big time. Big time target fixation.
Oh my gosh.
But it does look
And-
like we've got a couple more potentially coming down into pit lane. Buchmacher, a couple more making their way. Let's take a look at this here at this point. I mean, just hapless passenger. You can see and hear that rear end of the truck get lifted up into the air.
You saw how close he was first to catching the end of the pit wall there, and then close to catching an opening where you can get vehicles in and out. So that could have been both a very nasty incident, and that could have been a day ender for Thomas Lane Jr. Very lucky that he got out of that unscathed. I'd be worried about rear end downforce on that deck lid, though, right now.
I would be too. That's probably going to be a little bit difficult. Again, as we talked about earlier, that damage that you pick up can really throw off the aerodynamic offsets in these trucks.
So apart from that little kerfuffle, we still have not really had anybody coming on down to pit road. So some close calls, but we are now into that final quarter. And I think everybody else here, they're trying to see if they can stretch the field and make it work on a one-stopper from here to the end.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we've got two different strategies here, and I love it. This is why we love oval racing. It's these different strategies playing out.
You want to know one of the wildest fuel mileage races that came from this very racetrack? It was one of the things that actually inspired me to start this thing up. OMSRL Cup Series, season number, I think it was 3. Michael Kenner, everybody else came, and I mean everyone came down to pit road. Kenner and his teammate, they both stayed out. His teammate was the main pusher, ran out of fuel on the last lap, deliberately sacrificed his race, ran out of the line. Kenner tried to go around, ran out of fuel down the back straightaway, but because he didn't pit, he was able to still coast all the way around 3, all the way through 4, won by 2 seconds. Out of line, only going about 40 miles an hour when he crossed the start-finish line. One of the wildest things I've ever seen. That's why I love fuel mileage on super speedways. It's some of the most intense things you can see, especially if it goes down to the last lap.
100%. It's absolutely fantastic. And here we go. Coming down.
Whoops.
Whoop, there's a little bit of a miscue.
Austin Mitchell misses the mark. He'll slide into the infield, no caution. That's going to be a penalty, though, so Austin Mitchell's chance of winning this race just went up in smoke.
Yep, they certainly did. All right, here we go at this point. Everybody down, getting that service in the box. See, take a look back out at the main queue of trucks on the track.
Almost looks like they're backing off.
I was
trying to
kind
save
of
as much
thinking the
as they
same
can.
thing. It's a little bit slow here at this point.
Well, here's the thing. Top speeds of this race, they've been hitting upwards of 200 miles an hour. 200 to 210. They were going 170 down the backstretch. That's
Yeah,
about the
they're
speeds you
lifting
go
a
when
little
you're
bit.
not in
They're
the draft.
definitely lifting a little bit.
Yeah, so they're trying to make it halfway, and they just couldn't do it. So a second stop guaranteed for everyone. You cannot go 22 laps down here, full stop. Are you about to tell me that you can?
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see how they play themselves out.
Super Speed Race, it is the one type of fuel strategy I can actually anticipate correctly. Don't do this to me.
We'll see. We'll see if I'm right.
Gutcher makes his way up to the 7th place spot, now up to 6th, and our overlay a little bit behind. It looks like potentially all of the chaos that we've had might have had a big impact. Like, it's still showing Fensler's out on the racetrack, so it's about 6 seconds or so off pace. So we'll try to get that reset and get that back up. But here's Fensler and everybody else coming down to pit road.
Yeah, this is what I would have expected here now. Everybody coming on in. Here they go. And let's see exactly. Everybody clear out, and they're going to be down a little bit. Yep, not surprised by that.
So Jared Duda now making his way back out onto the racetrack as he tries to pick it up with Paul Witt just a little ways behind. And we are still struggling to get this overlay back up. I do apologize, but I can tell you right now, we are at 20 laps to go. And Jared Duda still making himself in with a strong run. There we go. Now we got everything sorted. So Duda is still in the lead of this race. He, all the way back to Grutzbacher, are in this first pack, and then it's a 5-second plus gap on back to Fensler and co. We've seen, though, what happens. If this goes green, it's going to be a race between the top 9.
Yeah, it really is. And if you are in that group with Fensler on back, you've got to be praying for that yellow to come out. Again, execution.
Oh,
down
there
on
it
pit lane.
is!
There it is. There's the yellow.
Oh, no! Kafrides goes into the infield, and he's going to get tagged. As Swafford comes in with nowhere to go. The 3 as well of Anthony Williams gets involved. Caution number 2 on the day. And this should give them just enough fuel to go the distance.
Yeah, this should get it in. I would not be surprised if we see absolutely everyone come down into pit lane.
That was a weird thing to happen there for Kafrides. We'll watch and see what happens.
Right, was this a bad push, or did he just get a little bit loose?
Had to have been, right? It's at the same place as caution number 1, so I would imagine a bad push, potentially from Dale Rapp.
Yeah, Rapp, there he lines him up, tries to get it, shifts back,
Oh, right
overcorrects it a little bit.
Oh,
Yep,
no,
overcorrected it and tried to chase him.
I don't think it was that. I think Kafrides was trying to cut down low, and Rapp wasn't expecting it.
Oh, that could be it as well. That could be it as well.
He had just gotten clear. Dale Rapp was probably thinking, whoa, what are you doing here? And then look at the 17. All the way to the grass trying to avoid that, and that Ford truck went right into the path of him.
Yeah, really and truly did. And like we said, absolutely nowhere to go for any of those drivers. And
like, look at this. That is, he's absolutely trying to get down low.
Yeah, he's trying to get low. He's trying to get low. You're 100% right, my friend.
And then that hard hit into the wall for Williams. Tough break for a lot of trucks in that deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate to see how it breaks out. It's just, it's not at all what you want to have happen.
On board with Noah Swafford. Man, he did everything right there. It still got screwed.
Yeah. And that's what happens sometimes. You just, on super speedway racing in particular, you get that run that really throws out.
Oh, developments. Raymond, Greg Hales staying out.
That is a decision.
that is a decision, yes. I think they might have just lost the race with that. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know. I mean, once again, we've seen drivers on that first stint and that second stint able to push this to 20 laps. This could,
not wrong.
This could be a masterstroke. The problem's going to be,
They're going to be close.
yeah,
And they're screwed if it goes to overtime.
that was my point right there.
I love these races. I so love these races. This was Dale Rapp and just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. And what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Jason Fensler was one of the trucks that was kind of right in the midst of all of that. And, well, that's on the back straightaway. We'll pull this forward a little bit more to the front straightaway. So this is on board with Fensler. And he's going to kind of see the starts of this. Watch here. Yeah, he's definitely trying
He's
to
trying to come
low.
down, and he did
Yeah.
back to, yeah. No, you're 100% right. And Fensler, you just got to keep your throttle in it at that point if you see a truck spinning that close to you.
And look at the 4 again, hopping off the ground. This time, Aerodynamics kept that truck on the ground, but we've seen a lot of times those trucks get a little bit haywire when they get turned around like that. Dale Rapp sent to the tail.
Yep. So we'll have to start it back. A couple of drivers lap down, coming down into pit lane, it looks like. So that's going to shuffle the field back around.
15 to go. Less than a pit stop run. So if you've pitted here, you are good to go to the end. For Raymond, Greg, and Gudger, it's questionable. Doable, but very questionable.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, but I still think he can do it. I think they can pull this off. The problem's going to be Greg, Raymond, and the lot up in the front is they've got to play this right because they can't be leading either line here at this point. They've got to hold back in line to make this play.
That was my worry, and that's what I was kind of thinking of, right, is the fact that, I mean, you can do what you want. We're on board the pace truck here. But, I mean, you can do what you want. The 20-lap runs that we've been seeing, those are drivers that are in the draft at 2/3 throttle, half throttle, even less than that. And they're like that the entire run. That's why they're able to go so far. The guys, though, that were leading the way, they've had to come down at least, 1, 2, 3 laps sooner. So he better hope that he saved a lot of fuel under this caution.
Yeah, that's what he's got to be banking on here. But we'll see how it shakes out. Don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's the ultimate here. I do not know.
Fuel mileage at Daytona. I think if they get another caution, then if they get another caution, I'll get into your camp and say they can make it as well. Because you can save a lot of fuel under the yellow flags here at Daytona, thankfully. So we'll see. This could go either way still. 15 to go, though. And the Cessna Beechcraft number 6 Chevy Silverado will lead the way into the Geico restart zone. And the SRA Open for the 3rd time is underway.
All right, pretty even getaway. Little break ahead there for Aaron Raymond. It does look like that Brennan Craig up on that high side is going to get a little bit more momentum. Not seeing a push here from Gudger. 35 of Bill Hales is going to hold into line. Everything nice and clean here in this opening group.
Raymond immediately jumps up to the high side, forcing Bill Hales to get up in front and burn a little bit of fuel as well. That saves Brennan Gregg some hassle. Jared Duda, the main pusher down low. Paul Witt, 3rd in line, along with Michael Gutcher, and we're 2 by 2 by however many rows you can count all the way back to the field.
Right, yep, they're going to keep it all together here at this point, not pushing too far ahead. Not seeing anything too crazy here. Everybody being nice and conservative in the way that they're pushing ahead. I like this.
Sky is starting to paint itself a little bit more yellow as the blue starts to transition. It will not set before the end of this race, but we'll bathe this finish in a nice orange glow before the day is out. It's a fight between Bill Hales and Aaron Raymond. Hales has never won an SRA race. Could this night be his night?
Well, it certainly could be the way he's running here at this point. We'll have to see if he's able to push his way ahead. I like what I'm seeing here at this point. Everybody nice and clean together, not pushing too aggressively, not getting too crazy. But nice and easy in the way that they're bringing this forward.
Baker's dozen on the boards. And it's like you said, right? It's the waiting game now. We've been waiting very patiently for this race to kick off. We can wait a little bit more. This is a game of chicken now. Who is going to be the first driver to make that duck out of line for the mid-pack and try and push their way to the front? You got to make that move eventually, and if the further back you are, you got to make it soon.
Yeah, you got to start to get a little bit of a play here if you are in that farther back pack. I mean, I'm looking at Gudger, I'm looking at Bailey, who are 3rd in line. They're keeping things together right now, but if you're farther back, if you're Fensler, if you're Anna Zogak, you have got to start making those moves.
You might have a little bit of time to work with it, but again, it could go either way. You're on board with Fensler right now, middle of the pack, and he's not showing any desire. There's not really a lot of places you can go. That second line is doing a good job of trying to shut down the run from up top and down low. Thomas Lane Jr. going to lose another lap as he's down on the apron of turn 3, trying to let this field by without issues. And Bill Hales will lead us to 11 laps to go.
right, 11 laps to go. And crucially here, Hales, Raymond, Greg's in a good position, but Hales is not. Hales is leading this pack. He's using more fuel up front.
How much has he saved under the caution flag? That is going to be the most critical factor that Bill Hales has to think of, is how much fuel does he still have in the back pocket? Hales, Raymond, Duda, Greg. Still the top four. That's not looking to change anytime soon. The only difference is what order they run in. Aaron pulls clear from the top side, but Bill is still working strong down low as well. Little bit of a pinch there from both lines into each other.
All right, starting to get a little bit aggressive here as things get closer to the line. I'm not surprised by that by any stretch of the imagination. Here they go. Holds that line as they come on. 10 to go as they go into one.
10 laps the distance. The further back you look, the more and more drivers have got to be a little bit uneasy about how all of this is panning out. Onboarded Brutzmacher tucked up right behind Paul Witt. He is one of many drivers that is just biding his time, trying to wait for his chance to come.
Now remember what we saw last time around at Talladega. I mean, when I think about that green-white checker, that first lap was all clean and together, and then things got crazy as it went along. So I wonder if we're going to see something similar.
It only takes one, and that is the exact same thing that happened, like you said, at Talladega. 2 wide, 2 wide, 2 wide, a little bit of three, a little bit of three. Oh, look at that. Now everybody's three, and now there's no one left. And all of that happened in, what, 5 seconds? Less than that?
Yeah.
Under 10 to go. One truck trying to tag onto the tail of the field. Not sure who that is way in the background, but I don't think he's going to be. That is Rincon that's trying to hang on right at the tail end of this thing, but trying not to get close enough that his constant connection issues throughout this race causes issues for the front runners.
Yeah. I don't like that there from Gudger. That's really scary, especially if you're that car directly behind Zane Bailey. That is absolutely terrifying.
8 laps the distance. About the length of a heat race on a dirt track as Bill Hales continues to make a strong case. Jared Duda jumping up to the high side. So Duda abandons Hales down low. He wants to lead this race, and that's going to stack up the bottom lane.
Yeah, it is, but that's going to put a little bit more power back into the line here as they go. Let's see. New pushers down low. Everybody trying to get together.
Credit to Paul Witt there. He saw his chance, and he immediately pushed back up to get to Bill Hales. And I talked about how I wasn't sure if Paul Witt could win this race because he was in the mid-pack. Well, look at him now. Main pusher, and that main pusher, that's where you want to be on the final lap.
Yeah, it is. You want to be up there. You want to be in position. You want to be pushing ahead. All right, let's see. He's going to take a little bit of a look down to the inside. Maybe trying to get some clean air into that radiator. Scare him a little bit.
Usually when you're looking for clean air, you want to duck out to the right because that's where the air duct is. I think there's a small one on the left, but not so much as what you got on the right side of the truck. One truck, whoa boy, straddling the yellow line as they make their way down to the turns 3 and 4. Now Paul Witt jumping up to the high side. He's going to try to draft to the front. And now we're 3 wide for the first time tonight.
All right, there's that move. The number 13 making that play up on the high side, but he's not getting any takers as they cross over with 6 laps to go. Oh, it's getting a little bit squirrely up front, though.
Gudger thought about it. He drifted up to the outside. He's given a little bit of a sniff of the draft to Sogak, and Sogak, look at the drive by himself. Gudger shuts the run down from the top shelf. He's going to stop him in his tracks, and now they'll have to try to push each other up, but we almost got the big one.
We almost got the big one, and that high lane is starting to disappear as there into the sucker hole goes the Castrol truck.
And that's wild because that Castrol truck was the leader of the second line. Look at how quick things have changed. Dudon goes down to help out Van Leer. Aaron Raymond, 3-time champion up top. 5 laps to go at the stripe. 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 of the top 3 are breaking away.
All right, but it is a very, very messy lead here on the second and third lanes as they try to get themselves together. That number 63 leading the way right now as they try to be able to hold off, the 53 there of Duda going to get a good run, and look at the block from Mullet.
Brandon Gregg, hard to the outside wall, turns into the middle of the pack,
to the back.
up, over, Gudger with a blowover, tumbling down the back straightaway, massive crash on the back chute. And that is the big one, that is overtime. Gregg up into the air, I think he kept it from going over, but Gudger went fully up and over, and that was instantaneous. That looked almost like that had the potential to be a Ryan Preece level wreck.
Yeah, that was not pretty at all, but thankfully we are in the sim world here at this point, and so everybody is safe in their rigs, but my goodness.
Like we said, it just takes one for this to go wrong. Take a look on what happened here coming off. Brandon Gregg catches the fence, and Gudger just got to the back bumper, turned him down, took out the 45. There's Gregg up into the air. There's Gudger up into the air on top of Fensler, tumbling wildly down the back straightaway, up on his nose, slams down to the passenger side door. We're coming to rest on all fours. Hard hit into the inside wall for Dale Rapp as well.
Oh, just big, big hits all the way around there. Not exactly what you want to see.
Not at all. This is going to be front on. Here you see, look at how high they get off the ground there.
Oh.
Honestly, that wasn't as bad of a wreck as I thought it was. I thought there was a lot bigger than it ended up being. By the way, one truck had a huge miss in the middle. I think that might have been a Marl.
I think it might have been as well, but...
This is with the 77. Wild sight to see. Yikes. Man, again, one mistake, and that was Gudger. That was all Brandon Gregg's mistake. Gudger did nothing wrong. He had nowhere to go.
No, nowhere to go. It all moved it right up into him, and everything just took place there as a result of it. Dale Rapp has been given an end-of-the-line penalty, I can tell you.
Really?
Yep.
What for?
I'm not sure, but that was just transmitted over race control.
Gudger hard into the inside wall. Dale Rapp spun around there. Let's ride on board with Fensler if we can find him. This is what Fensler saw.
All right, so there you're going to see that movement up on that third lane. There's the wiggle. There's the contact. Oh, Fensler just absolutely nowhere to go, and then that truck just spinning in front of him.
It's a wild sight to see. You don't ever want to see somebody's roof pointed at you.
No.
All right, so Gregg has been given the end of the long slide penalty for the incident. So whatever Rapp's penalty is for, it is unrelated to this wreck.
All right, well, news to me on that one, but, oh, God, just a horrendous wreck there for Gudger.
Tell you what, good job, though, on this field to get around that without much incident. That could have been easily a 20-truck pileup or worse, and the fact that that wasn't is incredible. Yeah, unsure, though, why Dale Rapp has gotten a penalty.
It may have been a request for an EOL. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I just saw that it was EOL.
Oh, that's why. Okay, so that was a requested EOL. So see how Dale Rapp is smoking? He knew he could not get back to pit road before the field got around. He's asked to be given an EOL so people don't get black flagged for passing him when he is incapable of catching up to the field.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense now. All right, that sorts it all out.
Lights are out, and this will be the first of twin overtime attempts. So we'll tack on 2 laps. And if we get to the white flag, race is official. If we don't, we do it again. Historically, we've been pretty good on being able to get out of these plate tracks with only one overtime attempt. I'd be shocked if we went to the second.
Yeah, the last couple of instances we've had of a green-white checker in an overtime attempt, it has gone relatively to form. So we'll have to see what it is this time around.
One thing is for sure, I don't think that's the last flip we'll see on the night. Call me crazy.
No, I think you're right about that. I think we're going to see maybe a few more.
That's wild. I mean, that truck just went. Like, there was no hesitation. It's almost like a giant, like, lifted, I don't know, like a table knife under that flipped it over.
Yeah.
Like a spatula.
Yeah.
There was, even at Talladega, they didn't go over that quick.
No, they really didn't. It was pretty crazy to see it that severe. But certainly at this point, we're going to have to hope that we don't see anything like that again.
You and I were talking earlier in this race. You know, there's been a few updates as of late. Have they fixed the trucks? Resounding no. Well, if there's one good thing, it means that we got something spectacular to look at, right? I mean, go big or go home. You
Exactly.
call it that.
Exactly.
Pace trucks in a pit road. 2 laps to go at the World Center of Racing. The SRA Open at Daytona is into overtime.
All right, good getaway for Witt. Hales is going to keep up with them there at that point. Raymond giving him a nice push. Little bit of discombobulation in the back, and they're going to start to tighten up as they come into one.
Turn number 1 this time by. Hales up top, Witt down low. Who's got the run to try and get this thing sorted? Paul Witt, the super speedway guru, trying to make something happen. Bill Hales gunning for his first win of his SRA career on the high side.
All right, he's getting a nice push, but they've got to be a little bit careful. That's Grusmacher giving a push to the pusher. Never want to be doing that as they come through 3 and 4. Remember, they get to the white flag. This race will be official.
3 wide up the middle. I think that's Dudley trying to make a shot up the middle lane as we get back into line. And now, here we go. White flag is out at Daytona.
All right, they're perfectly perpendicular there. A little bit of a sketchy one from Raymond. Now it looks like the 388 of Grusmacher thinking about trying to go high. They're going to leave Witt, and they're going to leave Hales in the sucker hole.
Oh, that's it for Bill Hales. Game over for the 35. Raymond up on top. Witt down low. Down the back straightaway with the final time tonight.
St. Bailey making contact into the outside barrier. He's going to be out of it, and it looks like this is going to be a race to the low side here. Lieben Van Leer may think about a little bit of a move, and there's a big block by Witt.
And that's going to leave him vulnerable down on the bottom side. That could be the decider. Jared Duda down low. Colbertsberger the pusher. Van Leer up top. 3 by 3 coming off of turn number 4. Down to the stripe. Witt's out in front. The streak at the super speedway stays alive as it is going to be Paul Witt taking home the win of the SRA Open, and a big crash across the line.
It looks like it's going to be Witt, Hales, and Lieben Van Leer, your top 3.
What a finish. Great finish. I'm shocked we didn't get the big one on the final lap there. That was spectacular. Let's take a look on what happened back in the field coming to the checkered flag.
All right, let's take a look again. Here they go, but my goodness gracious. Yeah, just a great push here. This is really good teamwork. There you see the contact just dipped down below that yellow line, and that was enough to send him around.
And Cody Witt got up into the air, did not go over though. A bit surprised at that, and there was everybody else crashing across the line after the checkered flag. But what a finish for Paul Witt. He has taken many super speedway wins, and this one nets him the win of the SRA Open at Daytona. What a way to kick off the season.
Absolutely fantastic, and just as you expect him to do, Paul Witt burning it down.
Trying to find a good spot to do it at least. Daytona's a difficult place to do burnouts at. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here, just on where that finish line is. So he's gonna try, but I don't know. Daytona's an awkward place to do burnouts at. I think we could cut him some slack for it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
There we go. Now he found the wall. Light him up. No, okay. Nope, you let it slide back too far. There you go. Gas it up. He's trying to do circles. Circles not really a thing that's possible, but again, a wild finish this afternoon and a great finish. Not a rookie that took the win this afternoon, but very much a seasoned veteran of the SRA IEL Truck Series. Let's take a run down to your official post-race results this afternoon on a wild finish, as it is going to be Paul Witt taking the dub over Bill Hales. LeBon Van Leer was in third with Jared Duda in fourth. Gonzalez in fifth. Raymond in sixth. Kolbensberger will finish in seventh with Dylan Grutzmacher with his first career top 10 in eighth. And it's Justin Nisogak and Bruce Dudley closing out the top 10.
John Bawalda Jr. was 11th, followed by Joshua Highball. Then Zane Bailey, that contact on the last lap sending him down. Jason Fensler, 14th, and Noah Swampert in 15th. Ryan Wayne was 16th, followed by Chase Moleneski. Then it's Mike Campbell Jr., Brennan Gregg, and Anthony Williams for top 20.
And moving on down to the field, Dylan Wilbers in 21st, along with Rincon in 22nd. Then it's Gudge in 23rd, Cody Witt in 24th, Thomason Jr. in 25th, and it's Amaro, Birch, Allen, Braz, and Dawkins Batiste bringing up the field with some of the last few cars to finish this race.
Yeah, as we go down into 31st position, it's Dale Rapp, Michael Campbell, George Kafridis, Austin Mitchell, Joshua Jernigan, Corey Painter, Anthony Lane, Adrian Portilla, Zachary Mertz, and Bradford.
What a wild finish this afternoon, and I think he's still burning it down. I can still, okay, I just now heard the motor expire on that car, so we'll get the chance to take a step back. Let's give a chit-chat here to one Paul Witt, who is no doubt celebrating big right now down in victory lane. And Paul, this has been a long time coming. You've won many super speedway races, one of the first though in official SRA competition. It always feels good to start the season off on a high.
Oh, heck yeah, Nolan. This feels great. We had the perfect game plan. We stuck with it. I mean, once we pitted and we were out there, we were just gone.
Overall, it was a solid drive. You were up at the front all day long. So let's, I guess, start with the strategy game. How did the strategy pan out for you this afternoon to allow you to always be up in the top five and always there, ready to contend, and then talk us through the overtime attempt?
Well, we knew we didn't have any fast repairs whatsoever. So we wanted to pit early just to get away from everybody, just in case a caution did come out, then we weren't going to be there. So we had a strategy that we were going to have to pit 5 times. And we just stuck with the game plan. And, we did the leapfrogging, through the race. As soon as somebody got hot, we were just leapfrogging, and we were laying down some huge laps compared to the rest of the field. And then in the overtime, had my teammate right behind me, and he got hot. That's when I had to get up because I didn't want him to blow. And then Bill come up and gave me a heck of a shove. So got to thank Bill and all the teammates, all the IEL team, the Moza team, just all of us working great together.
You kicked the season off strong. Next week is Atlanta Motor Speedway. Long-term plans? What do you think you're going to end up with that 429 by season's end?
I'm hoping to be fighting Aaron for the championship. At least have a shot at it. Coming into Phoenix. So we'll see. I run pretty decent at Atlanta as long as I don't get caught speeding on pit road. That seems to be what I end up doing is getting caught on pit road somehow, and having bad luck that way. But I guess I'm practicing, get the pit road down, and we'll just go from there.
Well, a championship run always starts with a good, solid run in the opener, and you did just that this afternoon. Wish you the best of luck when we go racing in Georgia.
Thanks, Nolan. See you next week.
Paul Witt out of Fraser, Michigan comes home number 1 this afternoon. 2 drivers getting their first podiums on SRA broadcast. One of them is Bill Hales. The other, LeBon Van Leer, will bring it up with the number 2 driver standing by with DJ Clark.
Bill Hales, your first podium here on SRA. This has got to feel good. Talk me through that last lap.
No, I can't remember, somebody was pushing me, and then we came through the tribal, and he jumped to the outside, and I kind of slowed down, but somebody got up behind me and started pushing me, and then the leader went to block to run on the outside, and that guy went to the outside, and I went to the middle and pushed. I was able to push him clear, and he wins, and I finished second. It was a good run, man.
It was a very, very good run, and kind of precipitated by your setting up with a little bit of an alternate strategy. Talk me through that.
Yeah, so I knew right there at the very end when the leaders pitted, they pitted like on lap 75. I knew they were going to have to stop again. So all I did was go to 80. We pitted. The 6 pitted. As far as I know, me and him could make it all the way. There's probably a few more that could. But if it had stayed green, we were sitting pretty too. We were either finished first or second if it had stayed green. But the yellow fell perfectly, and it cycled me in the 6 to the front. In the last 15 laps, we were able to stay up front. Ran the bottom. I'm kind of a bottom feeder. I don't like running high. I'm just dangerous on the super speedways. But then when we had the restart, I had no choice. And like I said, the last lap, everybody's trying to go for the win. Whoever went to the outside killed my momentum, but I got a push from the back and was able to push the leader to the win. So it's a good point tonight, first night.
Very good points tonight. You going to be able to carry that momentum on as we head to Atlanta?
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to this league. It looks like it's going to be an awesome league. So looking forward to it.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you out there. Bill, congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
All right. That was your second place finisher, Bill Hales. And now, Nolan, I believe you've been able to catch up with Mr. Van Leer, our third place finisher.
I sure have. LeBon Van Leer comes home, and well, like Bill Hales, LeBon, it is your first podium with the SRA IEL Truck Series as well for the Castrol number 60. Overall, talk us through what was a wild night, as it was mostly a midfield run, and you found yourself right up where it counted by the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had a fast car since qualifying, and at the end, I just tried to find my teammates, and then I went up to the high side. I was hoping Aaron would give me a push. Hopefully we could win, but it just wasn't enough, and Paul Witt came up with it.
Strategy was key this afternoon. You mentioned you were working with a few different drivers throughout the course of the night. Racing at Daytona is always intense. You had a lot to prepare for, though, with Talladega just 1 week ago for the preseason races. How much did that race at Talladega help you this afternoon?
Oh, it helped me a lot, just to the point where I got to learn and then put all that learning into this race and execute it.
One more week coming on up, of course. It is Atlanta Motor Speedway 1 week from today for round number 2. And now that you've started off the season strong with the podium, what are your long-term goals for the season?
Just to be consistent, have good cars, keep grinding, and keep getting great positions, and I'm gonna get one.
Sounds like a plan to me. Well, as always, thank you for taking the time to join us up here, Mr. Van Leer. Congratulations on your third place finish. We'll see you next week in Hampton, Georgia.
Thank you. See y'all.
LeBon Van Leer comes home number 3 this afternoon. And, well, DJ, that takes us to the close of things this afternoon. Overall, an extremely wild drive for all involved. And I think a very enjoyable race, though, all things considered. There is a long way to go yet before this season is over. It's Atlanta Motor Speedway, and critically, it's the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is not the legacy layout that we've been running for the last few seasons. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a new quantity for these trucks.
Yeah, it really is. It may be a mile and a half categorized as an intermediate oval, but it really races like a super speedway. So we're going to see a lot more of the same kind of action we did tonight. Probably not going to see 3 wide, going to keep it to 2 wide, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do nonetheless. I, for one, am going to be tuning in from my hotel room in Orlando.
It's going to be a wild ride. And before we get to that, there are more wild rides that we got coming on up throughout the next few days or so. We kick it off with a brand new run for the playoffs. 3 cars looking to duke it out on Monday night for the last transfer spot into the round of 12 for the playoffs as the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Premier Series swings out to the Kansas Speedway. Then it's a trip back to the Sunshine State for at least a little while with the SRA Cup Series. They're headed on down to Homestead Miami Speedway to kick things off just down the coast for round number 2. And then, of course, the Beer League with their second race from the ever-famed Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio, as they will stick around in North America for the first couple weeks of their season as well. Hampton, Georgia's 200-mile race is up next on January 18th. On Green Flag TV. If you want to find out more about who we are, what we can offer you, you can check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Nola Rample alongside DJ Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you when we go racing in Georgia.